Randy Lee, have you like spent 30 seconds with him?
He's on the run, man. He's busy making money.
Like you say, we're in the elevator all the time.
That's fine.
So things like that.
He's always very genuine and very sincere.
So, is it an accident that this is a guy who's going to make somewhere between $800,000 to $1 million a year, or this year somewhere in that realm? Is it an accident that you know, you look at the magnitude of financial difference that's happening? Here's the deal. My observation is this. He's not. I actually think there's people even in this room that are more skilled from a skill set standpoint than him. Because here I tell him, from just a pure, hey, here's the dialogue, here's the script, here's the efficiency of the thing. But the one thing you'll get with Justin, no matter who talks to him, and it doesn't matter whether it's another agent, it doesn't matter whether it's someone in escrow or title, it doesn't matter whether it's in lending, it doesn't matter whether it's his client, genuinely he will try to do what is best for the person in front of him. And not that any of us do it perfect, but almost always the shifts that occur is when it's okay if I don't get the deal, it's not okay if I don't do the right thing. And when that shift occurs, when it is done with complete selflessness, when it is done with the fact that I'm totally okay with the answer, because at the core, all I want to do is help every person that comes into my path get what they want. And if I help that happen, and that's my pure intention, then everything I do and every word I say will be taken, I almost want to say sincerely, or it'll be taken for real. My observation is that those that do it the best, and here's the other thing, they'll go in peaks and valleys in this. They'll rage with business, and then all of a sudden they get into the, can I repeat it? Can I do this? Can I? Right? If you were to talk to Justin, you would hear him say this. My number one objective is to have a raving, off the chart, like 100% amazing experience with every client who has business with me. So every decision, every solution, every dollar that's spent, every, even at times, lack of profitability in different areas of his business, that it's not as high as he'd like it, it is always driven back to the decision, is I will help the people get what they want. And so all of a sudden, it continues to grow, because the objective is I will get what people need. I will get them what they need. And that's what happens. Most of the decisions of not working with your sphere are about the fact that you don't want to, but they may need you. Things that calling for self-owners, calling expires, worried about what they're going to say to you to offend you, versus a different mindset would be, what am I going to do to lead out and help these people? I used to stand at my cubicle year over year, and day over day, year over year, and I would say this question: who do I get to help today? Versus, how much money am I going to earn today? It just changed everything for me. And I don't have it all. I just know that there's a connection there for our success. So, wrapping up, and any other questions, just, again, I challenge you to consider the idea of why you're here and why you're doing what you're doing. I challenge you to consider, okay, as you start going through a few more appointments in the next few days, as you get on the phone, just ask yourself, what is really my intention here? Is my intention to be right? Is my intention to, put people down? Is my intention to, tell them that they aren't doing it right? What are your intentions? No matter who it is. And then come over here and say, okay, but am I really figuring out at deep levels what people want? Am I figuring out what their real intentions are or have been? And then, am I capable of being what they need me to be? The only way you'll be capable of being what you need to be is if you are okay with any of the answers that they will give you. Once you start being okay with whatever the outcome is, as long as it's the right thing for your client, the right thing for the person you're entitled and that you get to lead or have the opportunity to be a steward of, you will make money hand over fist. To think that whatever script we use, whether you say, sign the contract, let's take care of some paperwork, let me help you get what you want the time you want, to, how do you spell your first name? None of it matters. Because it'll all be tainted if the wrong intention is there. you could say essentially any script or dialogue that you want. If it's done with the right intentions, it'll work. And I have proven that personally as I figured parts of this out, that it doesn't matter if I walk in and go, okay, I got 3 really important questions for you. Or, hey, I've got 4 things I want to share with you. First, I want to know more about your needs, your wants, and your expectations. Second, I want to know, share with you what we do to get a home sold. Third, we'll talk about the price. And fourth, if you feel comfortable, we're going to knock it out of the park and we're going to put a contract together. Sound good enough? Or whatever else script you've got. It's irrelevant. You may say, well, I feel more comfortable with this one. Fine. But it's not the script that fixes the problem. It's the intentions that fix the problem. Hence, in legitimately closing this up. I'm even getting a little early for you, unless we want to role play anything. But legitimately, it's the intentions. That will be the core of your success or not. And it's the reason why, again, someone can say, I have 3 really important questions for you. They can use the exact same words, the exact same script, the exact same dialogue, and a group of agents will get an entirely different outcome by asking the same question. What spurred this thought to talk about it was Nick Manville, who called me Monday and said, what do you do when you're doing lead follow-up? And I said, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you say? Sort of interesting question. I said, well, what do you say? Well, I call him up and I say, well, hey, it was great to have you come in and we'd love to sit down and visit with you again and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. And then if I've taken an agent, hey, you know what? I've talked to you for a few days. I know you've had your home on the market. Hey, I'd love to sit down and visit with you again, share with you some of the exciting things and strategies and tools we're using to get homes sold in today's market. Yeah, I said to him, Nick, that sounds good. Well, yeah, but I don't know if I'm not having much success with that. Well, what's the problem then? And he said, well, I'm not even quite sure. I said, do you actually think it's the spread? Do you really actually believe, because you have at least a competent verbiage that seems reasonable, you think that's the problem? And then all of a sudden the light bulbs start going. He goes, no. What's the problem? He started fishing around with it a little bit. Then it dawned on me a number of years ago, when everything mattered, I for a moment or two would go into that. I've got to have you be in this company. What I realized what built this company was it was totally okay, Jeff, if you weren't here. Jeff, just my pick on Jeff, was I mad at you when you said, hey, I'm going to go start my own company?
No.
Essentially I give you a hug, tell you I love you no matter what?
I don't remember the hug.
It's more of like a pat on the butt.
Yeah, you said go for it.
Right?
Yeah, true.
And my point is that in the end, selfishly, Rod, you've led enough agents, right? Selfishly, what do you think I'd want?
Absolutely, to keep all of them. I don't want every agent, I just want the next closest one, right?
Right, I want every agent, right? So personally, I would love it, but at the same time, I think what fosters Jeff and my friendship and trust of each other is that no matter what, I'm going to support Jeff in helping him get what he wants. No matter what. No matter what. Even if it's not the great thing for George Morris, I'm going to support him no matter what. The question is, can you say the same every time you step in and talk to a seller? Well, let's get even more like a FSBO or an Expired, or when you're talking to that client and they say, well, yeah, we're interviewing a few buyers agents, we're not sure who we're going to work with, and you go, oh my gosh, I got to get this. What's interesting again is that it's almost like, again, rejection breeds obsession. The more you almost act and really truly, and your intentions are, it's okay if I don't get it, it's okay if we don't work together, but I'm going to do everything I can to help you. But if you don't want to work with me, it's okay. It's fascinating how much more business each of us will do. It's fascinating. Since I go back to that original example, the agent who gets a part-time job, all of a sudden they couldn't put a deal together for the life of them, all of a sudden they started doing deals. Why? Because it started to not have to happen. It was okay if it didn't happen. They wanted to help their person, but they don't have to help them. And all of a sudden, all that taint, that weirdness, that, you know what I'm talking about, it just all just goes away. Rodney?
I'm not sure how to ask this question because it's like playing in my head a couple different ways. So it's a lot different for Leslie and I think to try to get agents like you guys.
Oh, speak up just a little bit. It's like a jet engine up
Jet
here.
engine. I was just
Yeah.
saying that it's a little bit different for the way Leslie and I do things and work or work with you guys. One of the big struggle for me is I have people tell me all the time that I don't think you need my business or you want my business. So how do you, like, how do you?
Yeah, so if you
balance
were the agent on any of these guys, I'd sit down and I would say, hey, look, let's put out the, it's almost like a listing presentation. Same thing, guys. I mean, this is very important. So I made a listing plan. I would say something like this. Same thing if I'm sitting with an agent. Look, let's first put out there, I want to work with you. I want to help you. However, the point is I don't know if you need my help. I don't know if we are a good fit. I don't know if it makes sense that you and I do some things together. And that would be, it's the same statement I would make if it's a listing. It's the same statement if I'm going to sit down with an agent. But let's look, and then that's why I started years ago come up with this idea, like, let's look at the possibilities. I don't know if it's going to work, but isn't it worth looking at some possibilities that maybe it might? Because I like you, you seem to like me, and it seems like it could make some sense. And look, I want it to happen, but I don't know if it's the right thing to happen. Because the first thing I'm going to put at the front of the table, or the front of the room here, or whatever, front of the top of the list, is I got to make sure it's the right thing for you. Because if all of a sudden I'm trying to have you work with me, and yet I know that it's not a good thing, well, I don't want to do that to you. But here's the deal, once you do that, Rondi, all of a sudden it's like, well, if she doesn't have to work with me, and she's not going to force me to work with her, and she's not going to make it uncomfortable if we work together, well, sure, I'll explore the possibility. Maybe it makes sense, and maybe it, and then the thing is, here's the important part. You have to be okay if they go, well, no, I'm not really to make a shift right now. And you're going to be like, you know what, it's okay. And you know, you would have like, you know, up here, if I was to say, okay, what are the decisions an agent has to make, or could make? You know, stay put, right? I mean, that's one of them. So many words, choose to work with you. Maybe they choose to work not even with who they work with, but they choose to go do something totally different. And you just have to sit there and go, I'm okay with whatever that answer is. But I think you first acknowledge, say, I want your business, but I don't know if it's the right thing. Let's first even explore that. Is it even a remote possibility? Maybe it's a, you know, 1,000 to 1 chance, but worst thing that happens is we become friends and I'm another resource for you along the pathway. Otherwise, it's okay, whatever the answer is. And you got to take that same answer when you're talking about listings and buyers. It's got to be okay. Because the moment they believe you're desperate, they're not going to choose you. How many people have you, how many individuals in here love when you have a clingy, needy friend? What do you try to do? You see them and they call. Oh, crap. And I hate it if you're on the phone and they call, Jess. And you're on the phone and then it does that whole thing like they know you're on the other line, like it rings and then at the end of each ring it goes, dun. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Like it goes ring, dun, and it does a different ring when. So if any of you are needy and you know that person's on the phone and you hear that little, it makes a little sound at the end of each call or each ring, you know they're on the other line. You're like, why are they not answering? It's a negative. I hate that one. It's totally fine if it's the needy friend and it just goes into voicemail and you can just look at it and go, oh man, I'm glad I didn't answer. Right? But my point is you have them and you don't want to be around them. It's the same thing if you're like, I need your deal. I got to have your deal. Remember that little game? Alan, I want your listing, but I'm okay if I don't have it. That's in my own head. I'm going to get this listing. But if I don't give myself just that little out, I will screw the whole thing up with my intentions. It'll mess everything up. I got to go back. I want you to join the company, but it's okay if you don't. Not out of arrogance for any of us. Just, it's okay because in the end, I'm going to get you what you want. And maybe you don't want to work with me, and that's okay. But I'm going to get the listing, but it's okay if I don't. And you might say, that is just nonsense. I don't know, but somehow it's made it to where I can be, I'm going to do everything I can to take the listing, but in the end, if I don't, it's okay. But I'm going to get it, but I got to be okay if I don't. Because if not, I get real weird, Rondi. I get like, I got to have it. If I don't get it, what do you mean you didn't choose me? Who did they, we start tearing people down, conflicting, fighting, put downs. You know, we get argumentative because it's like it has to happen no matter what. It's like, whoa, time out. Nothing's absolute. What, taxes and death, right? That's it. Nothing else is. You don't have to have anything, right? Anyway, I know there's this little groups called Great Life. You heard that? It's like a landmark forum. It's like Plaza has even some Tony Robbins stuff in it, things like that. But I had a friend who went and got really involved in this thing, and they'd always come back out saying this. I don't have, every one of them, I've had 2 or 3 people who've done this thing. My wife being one of them. And if you listen, they will say this. They don't say this. I have to go to work. They don't say that. You know what they say? Right, Rich? I get to go to work. It's a choice. So stop taking away their choice. They get to work with you. And it's okay if they don't choose you. But I promise, you'll have people follow you to the ends of the earth to work with you if you make sure you help them realize whatever the answer is, I'm there to help. And they'll never have to question, like I had happen, like, oh, I know what you're trying to do. That's what changed that for me. And it's always when I have to go back and go, okay, what are my intentions? What am I really trying to do? Okay? Yes, son.
What did they think you were trying to do?
I don't even remember what it was. I just remember, it was just the person I said really close, it was Rob. And I don't even remember, Rob Oakey, I don't even remember. I just remember him saying it like 7, 8 years ago, and he said, I know what you're trying to do. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And in mine, I was like, no. And in my mind, I'm going, oh yeah, you did know. I don't even remember what it was. I mean, I've known him for 27 years from now. But I don't remember. If I remembered, I would tell you. I'm trying to think. I mean, Rob, being a high-level analytical, he's always trying to figure out what everyone's trying to do. I mean, if you haven't experienced that, I mean, he is. But I don't remember. And if I did, I'd tell you, it's probably some dumb thing I was trying to do, some stupid idea, or trying to maneuver my way and selling him on something. I mean, some dumb thing I was doing. And he said, I know what you're trying to do. And I don't know, it just struck a chord with me. And it made me realize, you know what? You're not going to fool anybody. We never do. We never fool anybody. They know. They know. They always know. And hence, so I was talking to another guy late last night, and I said to him, I said, you realize everyone always knows if you're trying to do something, pull something over. And he said, bless you. And he said, you know what, you're right. You're not going to fool anybody. They know. They know. So just, you know what, as a friend to you guys, my program, just all I know is when I'm better at doing this thing, every relationship in my life is better. And of course, we're here to do a little bit of business, and maybe a lot of business, but just check your intentions of what you're really trying to do in life. And what you're trying to get, maybe the way in which you're getting it. And once you find that dial, it just flows. It just flows. It just does. And you see it happen with people. Have you found that the more money you earn, the less concerned you are about another deal coming together or falling apart? And yet the more deals you do, what ends up happening? The more deals you have happening. The more deals you put under contract, the less you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to have this one. It has to happen. But when you have 6, 7, 8, I realize that too, 6, 7, 8, 10 deals under contract, I'd be like, you know what, it's okay if it doesn't happen. And then all of a sudden I go back to doing it the right way, which is it's okay, whatever the outcome. But that's a constant battle. You're going to find yourself dip into that, where you're doing it and you're coming from the wrong angle. And then you're going to catch yourself. So that's why I always, this is a question for our whole lives, why are, maybe this is a better question for our whole lives. What are my true intentions? What am I really trying to do? And ask yourself as you move through your life. And no matter what angle of your life it is, just continually ask. And just see how much better life will become. When my intentions are right, life seems almost effortless. When they're off, everything seems like it's agonizing, it's hard, it's difficult. The intentions are off. Okay? Any other? Good? You sure? All right. Okay? By the way, because she's got a great sister, there's a new licensee. The newer licensees, as they're going through this, Russ, some of the hardest things they can do because they want it to happen so badly. But they got to be okay if it doesn't. And that's not easy to do when you're first starting out. But if you can, that's where the ones will kill it. See, what made it easier for Heidi Costain is that Darren Costain was earning a lot of money in another job. So actually, you know what's interesting? Is she did all this business, but it was okay. At some level, if every deal and every single thing didn't happen. But what was crazy is because everything didn't have to happen, guess what happened? More stuff happened. It's crazy. Seems so backwards, but it's reality. Make sense, Tammy?
Absolutely.
And by the way, I mean, one of my dear friends, I've seen you up and down on that at times. I mean, all of us get up and down, right? Where it's like, I gotta have it, and then all of a sudden you got 4 or 5 deals, and you're like, it's okay. But then all of a sudden 4 or 5 deals just turn into 6, 7, 8 deals, and you just start, just the deal, man. It's how it works. We all get there some point or another. You just gotta, again, go back to asking, what are my intentions? Okay? Listen.
Just something from, just a closing standpoint, when you get to work with so many agents, is you know the ones that do work from the heart. When they're like, oh, you've closed their sister, their coworker, like Alan, I don't know how many old coworkers, but since it's from the heart, then you start seeing like these are the agents that really they care. It's like I've closed their aunt, their grandma, and it's and you're just like, yep, I know you deserve that.
Right? If you're a desperate agent, if they really knew you were desperate, let's just assume they knew. If you knew that the person was desperate for a deal, and you were the client and you found that out, is that the person you choose? Would you choose the one who is desperate for a deal? You never would. You'd choose the one who was like, I'll do everything it takes, but I'm okay either way. That's who you choose. So if you personify a whole different angle of it, like I have to have it, and you come across at any level desperate, or that they're a number, or they're a piece of meat, or it's just another deal, it'll get all screwed up. You can scratch your head and go, well, I don't understand. Just check your intentions. That's all you need to do. What am I really intending to have happen? That's it. Okay?
Awesome.
Okay, guys. Have an awesome week. Hump day.